Well, hi there friends. Here's a little preview of what you are about to see in this What's for Dinner video. We had some delicious meals, and I think I have a couple unique recipes, one for sure that you may want to stay tuned to see. We've got some fresh garden green beans right out of our garden. And we are so excited for everything else to start coming on so we can have some fresh garden tomatoes and all that yummy goodness. Here's one of the new recipes I tried getting started here. This was a squash casserole. It is amazing. I'll definitely be making that again. Here's a look at the meal that had the beans and the squash casserole. And then I made another triple berry cobbler. Our own blueberries are just about ready to be picked. So I wanted to finish up that triple berry blend and take a look at this awesome Le Creuset baking dish. It's a cast iron covered with enamel baking dish that I found at the thrift store. It was, I think, on Wayfair $79.99 and I paid $4.49 for it. How cool is that? I was so excited to find that. So yeah, stay tuned for this whole video. There's all sorts of yumminess that happened this week and it's all right here. Okay, here's another way that I am using some of the beef. We have a side of beef in our freezer. We are almost to the end of it. This was a shoulder arm roast. It was about 2 inches thick. I cooked it in the crock pot on low for maybe 4 or 5 hours. I seasoned it just kind of in the middle of the road with just garlic, salt, and onion powder. I didn't want to have any specific flavoring on it because I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with it yet. So that was yesterday. Today I have shredded it, taken off all the fat. I've put it in this frying pan here and put a little bit of Worcestershire sauce on it. And I'm just bringing it to temperature. And let me show you what I'm going to do with it. Alright, I have toasted up these ciabatta rolls. And I have a block of this Lacy Baby Swiss, a chunk of that. So I am going to make roast beef sandwiches on these ciabatta rolls with Swiss cheese melted on top. I have some horseradish sauce. I also have some apple cinnamon barbecue sauce from a local orchard. I've got some old-fashioned bread and butter chunks, and I'm going to shred up some lettuce, and we are going to make roast beef sandwiches. I'll show you when I get my plate made what sides I'm serving along with it. Let me just say that these sandwiches were an A++. The beef was so deliciously seasoned, the crunch from the ciabatta roll and the lettuce with the melted cheese, the horseradish sauce, and then take a look at these sides. You're going to want to stay tuned to see about this cornbread salad / confetti salad. I'm going to show you how to make that just in a second. I also served up some homemade macaroni and cheese with the mini elbow noodles that I picked up the last time we were at the Amish grocery store, or the time before last rather. But I'm telling you, this confetti salad is amazing. It is such a good, cool, refreshing salad for summer, and it is so different and unique. So stay tuned. I'm getting ready to show you how to make that. Alright, so let's jump right into this recipe. You can see here some of my ingredients that I have set out to make this confetti salad, and the base of it is cornbread. Alright, here it is in my recipe book, Lisa's Confetti Salad. This is the recipe that my sister uses. I actually had a cornbread salad a few years before I had hers. I had it at a church dinner. It was really good. It was really unique. I was intrigued by the idea. And I actually saw the recipe later that day. My mother-in-law had it in a church cookbook at her house. A little while later, I had this that my sister made, and it was over the top good. It was better than the one I had had before, and I think in part to ranch dressing. The other one was just a mayonnaise base without the dry ranch, and so I really feel like good old ranch dressing made the difference. So I'm going to jump into this recipe and show you how to put this together. It is so good. All right, so you can see here these ingredients that I have set out. I'm going to go over these as I am looking here at my recipe book. I'm going to loosely follow this recipe. It is one that's very adaptable based on what you have. So it calls for 2 peppers, tricolor if you have them, or multicolor peppers rather, a box of Jiffy cornbread mix. I already have some cornbread left over that I'm using, a can of corn, a can of black beans, a can of pintos. I left out the black beans. It calls for tomatoes, onions, bacon, shredded cheddar cheese, and ranch dressing with a little bit of sugar added. And as I said, I am loosely following this recipe. So I will show you here what I am adding in to make this up today. Here is about a half a pan of Jiffy cornbread that we had left over. And so I'm going to crumble that. I don't want it really, really fine, but I just want it crumbled. I'm going to sprinkle in the dry ranch, of course. I'm going to also use some whipped dressing. This is the Aldi brand. I am using a can of pinto beans drained, a can of corn drained, and I am also adding some black pepper and some parsley. I'm not going to fry up real bacon today. I'm going to use the bacon pieces. I'm also going to dice up this tomato and onion and add in some shredded, I think I have Colby Jack cheese. Yeah, so those are the ingredients I am working with today. Now, since I am not using a full pan of Jiffy cornbread today for this recipe, I'm using about a half because that's what I had left over. I am going to adjust somewhat on my dressing, and that's going to be an easy eyeball thing to do. So that's easy to do. If you're using maybe a half a pan, I think most every nationality that I can think of has some sort of recipe that incorporates in leftover bread of some sort. So that's what this is. This is a way to use leftover cornbread and turn it into a very refreshing salad. Alright, so in my bowl I have my crumbled cornbread. I have sprinkled in black pepper and parsley flakes, as well as about a half a cup of shredded cheddar and about a half of the little 2.5 ounce package of bacon pieces. So into that I have drained my corn, and I'm just going to pour in what I think looks about right. I want the right ratio to the cornbread. So that's actually about a half a can of corn. All right, pinto beans are drained, and I'm going to do about a half a can. All right, now my corn and pinto beans are in as the recipe called for black beans. You can also add those in, but I chose to leave those out this time around. So I'm kind of getting a feel for the ingredients that I have in the bowl so far, and I'm getting ready to stir together my ranch powder with my mayonnaise. Now, the recipe says you can make a ranch dressing according to the package directions, which also call for milk, so you're making a regular ranch dressing. I'm just going to stir my ranch together with my mayonnaise. If it needs a little milk to thin it down, I will, but I'm just going to check that out as I go along. So basically we need the mayonnaise for the binder and we need the ranch for the flavor. So that's the idea there. All right, now I've added in my tomato and I've added in my onion, and then you can see where I have mixed my dry ranch package with my mayonnaise Miracle Whip, whichever one you want to use. I am not super picky. If you have a preference for one, use that one. So I've got those stirred together and now added to my bowl. Now, I usually follow this recipe to a T, but I didn't have the black beans. I only had a half a batch of the cornbread that was left over that I wanted to use. So I am adjusting the recipe, and it is an easy one to do just that. Alright, so I've decided to go ahead and go back in and add the rest of the pinto beans and the corn. I definitely see that this is going to be just fine to add those in, which finishes off the can, so that's a good thing. And you can start to see here why this is called confetti salad, because you have these beautiful colors all combined together and it just looks so colorful and fun. I'm also adding in a little bit more tomato now because I feel like I could use a little bit more of that. And we're going to keep on putting this together. This one's wrapped up. I wish I had some green pepper, some green onion to put in there for some extra color and added flavor, but I don't. I tasted this. It tastes great. I'm going to put the saran wrap on it, get in the refrigerator, and it is great for the next couple of days to eat on. A very unique and refreshing salad. I hope you give this one a try. Here's how the wings came out. I put a little Frank's Red Hot on them. I've got some ranch in my little cup here, and I've got some of the confetti salad and the macaroni and cheese. Those are sides from last night that are making an appearance again. And here's a close-up of the wings. And that's what's for dinner tonight. Look at these beautiful green beans. This is the first batch out of our garden. They are nice and full, long, beautiful, fresh garden green beans. After I washed them about 3 different times, rinsed them, I put in some white vinegar and some more cold water and let them sit for maybe 10-15 minutes just to make sure they're thoroughly clean. And now I am just cutting the tips off. I tried stringing these and there are no strings. That is fabulous. I'm not sure what kind these are. Usually we do white half runners, but this might be Blue Lake or something else. I'm not really sure. But after about 5 or 6 with no string, I'm just going to cut the tips off and maybe cut them in half or thirds and get them on cooking. So yay for garden stuff. Alright guys, this is a kettle full of yellow squash. It has been sliced into somewhat similar sizes. That's what I was trying to do at least. and I am making a squash casserole for dinner tonight. I am following the recipe from this old cookbook. It's called Our Family Recipe Sampler. I got this when we got married. I think it was a shower gift. It looks like 90s, doesn't it? We were married in 1991. We will celebrate our 28th anniversary in just a few weeks. So let's see here, squash casserole. That is the recipe. 2 pounds of yellow squash, a small onion, a carrot, sour cream, butter, margarine, but I use butter, cream of chicken soup, a package of stuffing mix, and grated cheddar cheese. I'm gonna give this one a try this evening. I'm gonna move along with the rest of my vegetables. I need to work on my onion and my carrot. All right, my carrots are ready to roll. They are chopped in about the same size slices. And I'm gonna add those in. Look how pretty that looks. We have a mix of our yellow squash. We have 1 carrot and 1 medium-sized onion. It just looks really pretty and fresh together. Let me give you a peek real quick of my green beans cooking on the stove. They are just cooking away. I threw a portion of that onion in there. That flavors green beans so great. Nothing like garden fresh green beans. Here's how the squash casserole is coming along. I have cooked and drained the squash, carrots, and onions. And then to this I've added all the rest of the ingredients except for a little bit of the stuffing that goes on top. So the sour cream, cream of chicken soup, the butter, shredded cheese, and a half a bag of the stuffing mix. So I'm going to fold this gently together, put it in my baking pan that's been sprayed with cooking spray, and then you top it with the remaining half a bag of stuffing mix. And for some reason, this recipe just makes me think of something I would order or see on an Amish buffet. I do have some Amish and Mennonite cookbooks. This is not one of them. That just reminds me of that. Wow, that's great. Look how pretty. Oh my, this is gonna be good, you guys. I have a feeling. Okay, so take a look at that. It's gonna go in the oven here in a little while and bake up. It's gonna be golden brown, I'm sure, and delicious. All right, guys, I'm showing you a lot of things from old cookbooks. This cookbook doesn't even have the cover anymore. It is old. It's got all sorts of little stuff written on it. This was my husband's church when we were dating. They put out this cookbook. This is my mother-in-law's recipe that, well, it says here Karen Mays, but this is the recipe my mother-in-law uses for these sweet and sour meatballs. And when I started dating my husband, this was one of his very favorite meals, his mom told me. And I had this one for the first time when I went to dinner at their house. And so this is one I've continued to make through the years. It is really, really good. So I normally follow the recipe exactly, but today for time and necessity, I am using store-bought meatballs instead of making them. And then for the sauce, I am going to vary a bit from that because I have a bottle of really good barbecue that I want to use. Let me show that to you real quick. Okay, here's the barbecue sauce. It's an apple cinnamon barbecue sauce. It tastes really, really good. So we're about halfway through it. So this is going to be the base for my sauce. And then I'm going to add some ketchup because I want the tang from the ketchup. I'm probably not going to add in the onion today or the butter. Maybe not the brown sugar. I may add in the soy and the lemon. That I'm going to try once I get the ketchup and the barbecue mixed together. So I often vary from recipes if there's a reason to. And like I said, today I'm using the store-bought meatballs because I need to and for time. And I want to use this. It's really, really good. Okay, so let's get started on the sauce. All right, here is the sauce all stirred together in a bowl. I ended up using all of the barbecue sauce that I showed you. I used Heinz ketchup, I'd say about a cup of that, And I also finished off my Trader Joe's bottle of sweet chili sauce. And then probably about a tablespoon of lemon juice. So that is the sauce. I'll toss my meatballs in that, and I'm going to bake those in the oven because I'm already using my oven this evening. Those frozen meatballs are a trick. It's great to keep these in the freezer. They cook extremely quickly, or you cook them on the stovetop, in the oven, or in your crock pot. They are very versatile, so I try to keep those on hand at all times, and today they are definitely helping me out in a pinch. Alright, here's our sweet and sour meatballs, squash casserole, fresh green beans out of the garden with some potatoes, cornbread, butter, some veggies sliced up to go along with it, the homemade coleslaw, some lemons, and an orange, sweet tea, and lemonade. And I have some watermelon diced up. This triple berry cobbler is finishing up in the oven. There you have it. We had a feast on Wednesday night. We have family night. It's where our 3 grown sons and their wives and our 2 grandsons come over for dinner, and I go all out and cook up a yummy big meal for us each Wednesday night. We finished it off with this triple berry cobbler. Look at that bubbling. Oh, so good. And this was my new pan that I told you about in the intro. We served this with some vanilla ice cream and let off some fireworks in the yard. And a good time was had by all. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing this video with all of the yummy foods that we've had this week. And I'd love for you to subscribe and come back for the next one.